All right, so we know what the 2025 CrossFit Games is going to look like. Sort of. There's still some questions, but we have a better idea now than we did 24 hours ago. So let's talk about what the season is going to look like, what was announced, what are some of the questions we still have, and maybe let's speculate a little bit, because speculating is fun. And it's part of the reason I think people watch videos like this. Speculation, the things that you can't get from the releases that CrossFit puts out. So let's take a look. CrossFit posted on their Instagram page about the individuals, the teams, we still have teams, the adaptive, and the masters. So starting with the individuals, you have the CrossFit Open, and we now have the open dates. So the CrossFit Open is February 27th through March 17th. And I feel like there was a question for a second. There were some thoughts that the 3-week open may be going away. It might just be a release of a bunch of workouts and you do them over a certain number of days, a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe, and then you submit those. These dates makes it look like it is the 3-week open we have come to know over the last couple of years. I really hope that is the case. I think the 3-week open format, I also like the 5-week open format because I've been doing this for a long time. This will be my 11th open, so I'm very familiar. I actually think the 5-week open format may be better with the changes they made this year, but the weeks open format versus just releasing a bunch of workouts and having people do them on their own over any number of days, I don't like that. I think having one workout a week that has a deadline each week is the way to go for the CrossFit Games Open. I think that's the way you get the most people involved. I think if you just have a random 3 workouts released and you do them whenever you want over a course of a week or 2 weeks, it just doesn't create the same amount of community, right? When you have the workouts released on that Thursday, then everyone checks them out, then you have your Friday night lights at your gym. I think that's how you get the greatest community involvement. So the dates make it look like a traditional 3-week open, and let's hope that's what it is. We can look at it and look and see the 27th is a Thursday and the 17th is a Monday. So it looks very much like the 3-week opens that we've had, and I would expect, I anticipate, maybe I just hope that we're gonna have the open look very similar to what we have the last few years in open announcements, workout released on Thursday, due Monday. I hope those are all things that we have, speculation, but based on what's been released so far, it's looking good for that. So for the individuals, after you have the open, you move on to an affiliate semifinals. So this is new, and also what is missing? Quarterfinals. No more quarterfinals. Slightly surprised, maybe not super surprised, but a little bit surprised here. Quarterfinals, in my opinion, wasn't necessarily necessary for finding the best people to put in semifinals. If you've been CrossFitting long enough, the Open used to qualify people for regionals directly, so it's not wild, like I've heard some people say, to have people go right from the Open to semifinals. It's actually what we did for many, many, many years. So from that perspective, I'm not surprised to see quarterfinals go away. I'm surprised from the perspective of I thought it was a decent money-making strategy for CrossFit. It cost more than the regular Open did. Maybe the regular Open price goes up to offset. Maybe, I don't know. That was just a quick thought I had literally while talking. But the Open was $20, quarterfinals was $50, so you had all those people signing up for quarterfinals. It was another way for CrossFit to get a little bit of money. That's gone now. So that's the only reason I'm really surprised to see it gone. Otherwise, I don't think it really impacts who we're gonna see at semifinals. I think that a lot of these athletes who have been competing a long time have qualified directly from the Open to regionals, to sanctionals, to semifinals, to sectionals, to all the different things we've had over the years. So I don't think that will be difficult. It is interesting that they are an affiliate. This was something that people were talking about, the possibility that semifinals would be gone. That does save CrossFit a lot of money. So eliminating quarterfinals, possibly a loss for some money for the games, for CrossFit, the CrossFit Games, the sports side of CrossFit. But then getting rid of semifinals that CrossFit used to put on, that's gonna save CrossFit a lot of money. So between the two, it probably will still save CrossFit money because those semifinals, those regionals usually operated at a monetary loss. So an affiliate does make more sense if CrossFit is trying to save money. That is May 1st through May 4th. Then right under it, there's an asterisk and it says in-person qualifying events, April through June. So this will probably be like the sanctionals that we saw back in like 2019, that there'll be some events that people are able to qualify directly to the games from the events. Interesting part of this is, do you have to do the in-affiliate semifinal to go to these in-person qualifying events? Do you have to do the open to go to these in-person qualifying semifinal events? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that just yet, but that is a question that I think will continue to come up. And likely you have to do the open. I think I've seen some of them have qualifiers over a time span that makes sense, kind of corresponds with the opens. That may be a way to get people to have to do the open as well as their qualifier, or maybe the open just is the qualifier for some of these events. But it could give people an opportunity to have multiple avenues to qualify. So in the past, there's been some concerns about if you get sick on the weekend of semifinals, that's it for your whole season because there's no other way to qualify for the CrossFit Games. If for some reason you can't get to your semifinal, there's been issues with that in the past. But with this in-affiliate qualifying event, that allows people to not have to travel to a semifinal. So someone like Roman Khrennikov could go back to the Asian semifinal or the Asian group because he just does it in his affiliate. You don't have to do it from certain regions. So are there even gonna be regions? Probably not. I'm unsure. That's another question. But someone like Tia, right, who was competing out of the North America East as well, like Roman, she could be with the Australian group if they do group it by region. I don't know if we'll have regions. Regions are a good idea though from the perspective of trying to get representation from all over the world. You may have a little bit less of that if you eliminate the region perspective of it. But some of that's to be seen still. And then it says CrossFit Games in August, and I don't believe we know where they're going to be. There may be a decision by CrossFit to not go back to Texas. I don't know. I've seen it's still TBD, and in the past we knew it was Madison for a long time before the games, so it's sort of interesting to see that still TBD. At the bottom of the graphic on the CrossFit Games post, it says top 1% of open finishers move on to semifinals, minimum of 30 men, women move on to the games. I think it's a minimum because it has to do with how many sanctional events there are going to be. So I would imagine still going to be 40 people at the games, but how many qualify through the in-affiliate semifinals is going to vary depending on how many events they get on board for these qualifying events. And basically looking at the in-affiliate event, it does make it sound like you can't just do this in your garage gym, you can't do it at an unaffiliated gym, you gotta be in a CrossFit affiliated facility to do the in-affiliate, right? That's in the terminology, semifinal. It doesn't say like remote semifinal, online semifinal. It says in affiliate. That key terminology there. There is also going to be a new advanced judging course, and I believe the athletes' videos will be posted online for the semifinals so that other people can watch them, review them, possibly give people no reps that they didn't get in their affiliate when they were being judged by someone who maybe, you know, their friend or someone who just missed something. So that'll be an interesting part of this too. I do believe you have to have a level 1 certification and have done the advanced judging course to be able to review those videos and make judgments. For the teams, same open, that makes sense, same as it's always been. There's also the in-affiliate semifinals, and that is it. It doesn't appear there's going to be any in-person events for the teams, and that is before the individuals. That is April 24th through 27th, and then the CrossFit Games in August. Again, we don't have dates for the CrossFit Games or location, just August, or AUG as it is on the graphic. It says all teams are eligible to move on from the Open to semifinals, but here is a key part of this. Top 20 teams, max 1 per affiliate, move on to the semifinals to the games. That's actually a pretty big change. There are several affiliates that have qualified multiple teams multiple years. One that comes to mind is a team, multiple teams that have won the games. So Invictus has won the games. They always qualify multiple teams for the games. Mayhem has won the games. They also recently have qualified multiple teams for the games as well. These places won't be able to do that anymore. They can only qualify one team from each of their gyms. So I think it'll bring up the question for some of these team athletes about where they want to be. And some of these gyms that have multiple locations, like Invictus has quite a few locations. I believe they have one in Seattle, maybe one in Chicago. Do some of these athletes that were based in their San Diego facility move somewhere else? Or does somewhere like Mayhem, where you also have the barn, can you like affiliate the barn? I mean, you can affiliate your garage gym. So do you affiliate something else in Cookeville and make that a second affiliate? Is that moving around the rules in a weird way? Or is that just like, you know, playing the system? You gotta play the system a little bit sometimes. So maybe they play the system a little bit. I mean, I guess Invictus could, you know, affiliate a warehouse down the street. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see some of those places that have consistently qualified multiple teams and what they're gonna do to adjust to this new rule. Age group, same Open, as we've said. In affiliate semifinals, you know, this is something the age group has been dealing with for a long time. So for these athletes, I think they'll be okay with this change and the adaptation. It's their norm. But their semifinals even sooner, at the beginning of April. And the teenage and masters CrossFit Games, this is age groups, not just masters. So teens and masters. Their games, which may be 2 different games again, I don't know, but that date is TBD. So a lot of questions there, and that is the top 2% of Open finishers, a minimum of 200. This may come up in some of the older divisions and maybe some of the youngest divisions, like the young teens, not the 35-year-olds, like the 14, 15-year-olds. Top 2% of Open finishers, but it has to be a minimum of 200. So if there's not enough people in the Open that 2% equals at least 200, they will take 200 in each division to move on to semifinals. Number of qualifiers per division varies for teenage and masters games. Usually like the 35 to 39-year-old masters. Those people get some more people at the games than the 60 to 64-year-old group or 65 plus, because they just have less people competing in their semifinals, less competitive. It does sort of make sense. It also does suck for the people that have less people moving on, but we'll see what those numbers look like when they're announced. Adaptive, they have a Wheel Wad Open, and that is same dates again. They have their semifinals May 8th through 11th, and then again, Wheel Wad Adaptive CrossFit Games. And then there's this community competition. Not sure what that is just yet, but it says the CrossFit Open, that makes sense, and then a Community Cup in June. So all athletes who post a score for the 3 Open workouts are eligible to participate in the Community Cup. So maybe I'll do that, because I do plan to do all 3 Open workouts, and also right there, 3 weeks, 3 Open workouts. That confirms that in this graphic. But we don't really know much about the Community Cup yet, but it's a thing. And all athletes who post 3 scores for the Open are eligible to participate. So it'll be interesting to see what that turns out to be once we have a little bit more details about that. But I think giving people more opportunities to compete, I think the Community Cup kind of replaces the quarterfinal aspect for a lot of people who did that and had that as like their second part, this Community Cup, which is in June, so it also gives you like some time in between. Felt this past year like the Open and the quarterfinals were like butted up against each other. You just have to go right from one into the next. Doesn't seem like you'll have to do that here. So that could be an interesting thing. I don't know how much participation they'll get in the Community Cup. I think we need to figure out more about what it is and then have a better idea. Also, I'm not entirely sure how these in-affiliate semifinals are going to work. Is it going to be just that they're in any affiliate of your choosing, or are there going to be certain affiliates throughout certain areas where you can go do these? I don't know. Like, is it going to give like certain affiliates are going to have specific judges there? Are people going to create affiliates where multiple athletes qualifying are going to compete together and they're going to hire judges that are previous semifinals and games judges and have those people do the workouts together to have that push of doing it in a competitive environment with someone next to you? That has yet to be seen. But a lot of new information today. Happy to see the 3-week Opens still there. I really enjoy that. I enjoy that from just a regular CrossFitter perspective. It's like my favorite time of the year. So I'm really happy to see that the 3-week format Open isn't changing. It looks like we'll get an announcement every Thursday. And those are just some of my favorite memories of being in CrossFit have come from the Open. And even my favorite memories of doing this YouTube stuff has been sharing my Open experience with all of you. So super, super happy to still see that there. There was a bit more of speculating that I wanted to do. And part of that has to do with who is competing in the Open this year. It seems some people are disappointed by the information released by CrossFit regarding the investigation into Lazar Djukic's death. And that's totally fair to be disappointed or upset. People are allowed to have whatever feelings they need to have about that situation. But it does appear some athletes do not plan to compete in the CrossFit Games season while they still plan to do functional fitness. I don't think they plan to do it within the CrossFit Games space. So some of those are Emma McQuaid. She's made that pretty clear. Luka Djukic also, I think, has made it fairly clear that he's not competing. Not quite as clear as Emma McQuaid, who just straight up said, I'm not doing it this year. But what he posted basically says that too, just not the exact words. And then Chandler Smith also posted something that made it sound like he's out of the CrossFit Games season by choice, like not by injury or anything like that, by choice. And I do know that he was one of the athletes that seemed very affected by that this summer. And he wasn't sure if he wanted to keep competing in the games, but he was on a team and his team as a whole had decided to keep competing, so he had to keep competing as well. Sounds like he will be out now because of the results. And I do think we're going to see some other athletes choose not to compete in the CrossFit Games season. I think some of the biggest question marks are previous winners like Jeff Adler and Laura Horvath, who both pulled out of the games. And I felt like Jeff was saying some stuff at Rogue that sort of made me think that Rogue was his games, at least this year. Does that mean that Rogue is going to be what he hopes to participate in the future? I don't know. Like, that's his focus for his competition, no longer the games. There's a lot of money at Rogue, great opportunity to make a lot of money at Rogue, and it's very comparable to the games. So maybe he's like, I don't want to do the CrossFit Games anymore after this. I'm going to focus on winning that competition, which a lot of his competitors who still do the CrossFit Games aren't as focused on Rogue. So maybe it's a smart business move, like a financial move, in addition to maybe aligning with his beliefs and thoughts. So I do think there's some athletes, especially on the European side, who may choose not to compete in the CrossFit Games anymore. So that's going to be a big thing to see the rest of this season. Who's in, who's out, who does the Open, and who doesn't. I, myself, not a CrossFit Games athlete, but I can say I am doing the Open. This will be my 11th Open, barring any sort of crazy injury. I will be doing the CrossFit Games Open because that is just something I believe in and something that I think is really special about this community, this participatory Open, where everybody, no matter how experienced they are, can do it. So I will be doing it. I hope that a bunch of you will be doing it too. If people choose not to do it, that's okay too. My dog handed me his bone, and I'm just holding it. I will throw that for you. So I plan to do it. I have seen some posts on some different pages. Training Think Tank put up one, asking their community who's planning on doing the Open this coming year, because there is a lot more questions than usual. But I do feel a little bit optimistic seeing that it does appear that a lot of those have at least weighted a little bit heavier towards people doing the Open, some people still deciding. But I believe in this community, I believe in this methodology. I am definitely biased towards CrossFit as a methodology. I believe in this, it's changed my life. I just wouldn't even be doing this right now if it wasn't for CrossFit. I wouldn't be talking to all of you. So it's been a really wonderful part of my life, so I will continue to support it because I believe in it and how it's changed my life, my relationship, my body. So I'm still doing it. Respect anyone who chooses not to do it, but I will be there, and I hope some of you will consider doing it as well. Let me know your speculations for the season, if you have any thoughts on where these sanctional events could be, or qualifying events, I think is actually the term they're using, like French Throwdown, maybe West Coast Classic puts something on. There's a bunch of things that could end up being sanctionals and things that maybe haven't been announced yet. So let me know what you think, or let me know if you think some athletes might not participate. I'm interested to hear who you guys think won't be in the 2025 CrossFit Games season. But I'm excited for the new season. I'm happy to see that for the most part, things are similar to what we've seen in some ways in the past. A 3-stage qualification, we've seen that before. Still have the Open, still gonna have that as a mass participatory event. Excited for all of that. Anyway, appreciate you all for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and Carson, come say goodbye. Carson, come here, say goodbye. Bye-bye. He won't be doing the Open, but he would if he could.